Abakurikira Gicaniro TV tubahaye ikaze hano mu mujyi wa Oxford. Umujyi wa Oxford ni umujyi uri mu gihugu cy'Ubwongereza, aho abanyarwanda n'inshuti z'abanyarwanda bagiye gukora nanone igikorwa cyo kwibuka ku nshuro ya 29 Genocide yakorewe Abatutsi. Umujyi wa Oxford abanyarwanda bawutuyemo bafatanyije n'abandi banyarwanda baturuka mu yindi mijyi yose y'igihugu. Igihugu mvuga ni igihugu cy'Ubwongereza. Abahangaha rero bakaba bagiye gutangira kuhakorera urugendo rw'urwibutso. Uru rugendo rw'urwibutso bararukora bazirikana inzirakarengane zazize Jenoside yakorewe Abatutsi mu 1994. Hanyuma y'uru rugendo aho ruza kurangirira niho haza kugira ibindi bihavugirwa birimo ubutumwa, impanuro ndetse n'ubuhamya. Ubwo uko biza kugenda turagenda tubibagezaho gahoro gahoro uko dukomeza mu kiganiro. Turabashimiye mwese abakurikiye Gicaniro TV. Jabo Butera ni wowe uyobora ishyirahamwe ry'imiryango y'abanyarwanda hano mu gihugu cy'Ubwongereza, aho igiye iherereye hose. Noneho nk'umuyobozi w'abanyarwanda hano muri iki gihugu cy'Ubwongereza, turagira ngo tukubaze iby'uyu munsi, tukubaze uko mwawuteguye, tukubaze icyo uvuze ku banyarwanda no ku Rwanda, hanyuma kandi noneho unavuge ibishobora kuza kubamo muri ubu buryo bwo kugira ngo twibuke ku nshuro ya 29 Jenoside yakorewe Abatutsi.
Murakoze cyane Jide, murakoze abantu badukurikiye. Nk'uko bivuze turi mu mujyi wa Oxford, aho igikorwa cyo kwibuka Jenoside yakorewe Abatutsi kirimo kirabera ku rwego rw'igihugu, ku rwego rw'Ubwongereza. Abantu baje, mwabonye imbaga y'abantu baje baturutse hirya no hino mu mijyi itandukanye kugira ngo hamwe dukomeze uwo muhango kugira ngo twibuke abacu, twibuke amateka y'u Rwanda, ariko tunagaragaza ukuntu turimo turiyubaka kugira ngo n'abana bakurikirana, abana batari mu Rwanda batazi amateka yabaye mu Rwanda kenshi kubera ko ntabwo baba bahari, babirebe bamenye ukuntu bimeze, ukuntu byagenze. Tukigisha n'abantu duturanye aha ngaha abazungu b'Abongereza n'atari Abongereza uwo ari we wese. Niyo ubona iyi mpaga rwose twahagaze aha ngaha tugiye gukora urugendo rwo kwibuka. Turava aha ngaha ku cyicaro cya BBC dusubire hano twateguye aho turi buhurire twese kugira ngo twereke abantu ko turimo turakora urugendo rwo kwibuka, kandi turukoze turi hamwe dufatanye kandi dutera imbere twiyubaka. Dusubira hariya turazana abayobozi batandukanye baraba hari ho mu mujyi wa Oxford, Meya, Road Mayors araba hari nawe bazi amateka twarabwiye ku abanyarwanda, amateka yacu y'u Rwanda. Baraje baradusanga aha ngaha kugira ngo tujyane nabo kuri uru rugendo kwigisha n'abantu batuye aha ngaha, ariko cyane dukomeza tuvuga amakuru ukuntu ameze, kubera n'aha ngaha kenshi usanga hari abantu bagipfobya Jenoside yakorewe Abatutsi mu Rwanda. Twebwe turahagurutse tuti amateka n'ayacu, reka tuyabigishe tubabwire ukuntu byagenze. N'ibyo ngibyo turongera dusubire hariya hantu twari twuriye kugira ngo dukomeze ibiganiro.
Reka ngushimire cyane Butera Jabo, ariko ese mu gutekereza guhagurukira ahangaha ku biro bya BBC haba hari ikindi bisobanura? Yaba ari uburyo bwaho twahuriye gusa nk'abanyarwanda, cyangwa behind hariho impamvu yabyo kuhahitamo?
Hariho guhurira kubera ko hari ahantu abantu benshi bazi, ariko kenshi usanga ibinyamakuru bitavugisha ukuri rimwe na rimwe, cyangwa se bakagira ahantu babogamira. So tuje kuri BBC kugira ngo nabo bamenye iyo nkuru, bamenye ko hari abanyarwanda baturutse ahantu hose mu mijyi itandukanye nka mu Bwongereza, kugira ngo bigaragare, babirebe nabo, nibagira amakuru yo gutanga bagira amakuru yo gutanga amakuru mazima ariyo. Na nicyo cyatumye tuzanga no kuri BBC gutanga iyo message kugira ngo babimenye nabo.
Dutera Jabo rero turagushimiye kandi turi kumwe uyu munsi.
murakoze
cyane.
Murakoze bwana Jide. Nibyo koko aha niho turagiye gutangirira urugendo rwo kwibuka ku nshuro ya 29. Iki gikorwa kugitegura twagiteguranye na komite yose ndetse n'abandi banyamuryango bo hirya no hino muri zindi komite, ntago twagikoze twenyine. Twagize imbaraga nyinshi cyane zaturutse muri komite zose kubera ko naka yadufashije. Hanyuma mu kugitegura twifuzaga yuko urugendo rwacu rwo kwibuka rutaba urwo kwibuka gusa duhagaze muri hall, ahubwo twashakaga no kugira ngo n'abandi bantu bamenye ese turi bande, turi gukora iki, uyu munsi twibutse iki. So nk'uko babibona rero hano kwibuka turi ku nshuro ya 29 tukibuka Genocide yakorewe Abatutsi muri 1994. Tuhari nka bamwe turi Abanyarwanda ndetse dufite n'inshuti z'Abanyarwanda turi kumwe hano. Kubikorera Oxford ni agaciro cyane kuri twebwe nk'abayobozi ba Oxford. Twishimye cyane kuba byabereye hano kuko Oxford turi mu bantu natwe twifuza kuzagira ikintu gikomeye twazajya duhorana cyo kwibuka. Tukaba twifuza ko ndetse guhera kuri uru rugendo no kuri iyi nshuro tugiye kwibuka twazakora n'ibindi twavuga twifuza kuba twagira urwibutso rwacu rwa Oxford. So ni muri iyo mpamvu rero twavuga tuti kuza kwibuka tukereka n'abaturage ba hano ba Oxford abo turibo n'icyo tukora, twumva ari ibintu byiza ko twatangirirana nyine n'urugendo ari urwo twakoze.
Liliane, nabonye harimo urubyiruko. Uyu munsi habonetsemo urubyiruko rwinshi rwaje kwifatanya nyine n'abandi banyarwanda. Ese haba harabayeho izindi mbaraga z'umurengera mu gusobanurira abo bana, cyane cyane ko rimwe na rimwe tuba tuzi ko barwana na cultures zombi? Ikindi kandi haba hariho n'ikibazo cy'ururimi. Hakozwe iki kugira ngo aba bana bitabire iki gikorwa bigeze ahangaha?
Nibyo koko urubyiruko turarufite kandi turishimye kuba dufite koko urubyiruko rungana gutya. Ni ibintu by'agaciro. Imbaraga zo zabayeho kugira ngo dukangurira abana bacu kumenya icyo kwibuka bivuga. So iby'ururimi nago ururimi rwose wabisobanuramo, bagomba kumenya yuko bagomba kuzakaringa iyo legacy yo kuzasigara bibuka ibyabaye ku babyeyi babo, ndetse no kubavukana n'ababyeyi babo. Rero akaba ariyo mpamvu twashyizemo imbaraga zikomeye kugira ngo nyine uru rubyiruko ruze, kandi twishimye cyane kuba rwaje.
Liliane, mugendagira ngo ngushimire cyane, hanyuma turi kumwe mu rugendo.
Murakoze cyane. and Fry. Welcome. Distinguished guests, ladies and gentlemen, fellow Rwandans and friends of Rwanda, welcome to Kwibuka29 in Oxford. We are so humbled to have all of you gathered here in a memory of our 1 million, or more than 1 million that we lost. Welcoming our chair to come and give his address to our guest. And please do give not any do not please clap, do not give him anything. And after the Eve will welcome the Mr. Senhenga to give our prayer to start the event. Thank you.
Dear Excellency, distinguished guests, friend of Rwanda, it is an honor for me to welcome you today in Oxford. Today's event will mark the 29-year commemoration of the 1994 genocide against the Tutsi. I'm very grateful for you, Lord Mayor James Fry, and Susanna Presso, the chair of Oxford County Council, and the High Commissioner of Rwanda in UK, Ambassador Johnson Musinge. It's also an honor for us to welcome the High Commissioner's Office, team members, and all Rwandan Community Association in UK who are here today to commemorate with us today. We also wish to thank the members of the Rwandan Community Association, also chair, which chair, and everyone who contributed or supporting us on this event to take place today. Once again, it's a warm welcome to you all, and thank you for being part of this important event today. Allow me this time to welcome the Lord Mayor James Fry to give us his remark.
Thank you very much indeed. This is very special and somewhat personal for me. I will explain first why it's special and then why it's personal. Susanna and I, we spent the first half of the 1970s, our first jobs, teaching at universities to the south of Rwanda, in Lusaka, which is where our children, one of our daughters, whose son actually is working here from school today, but she was born in Zambia, and we then went to Lubumbashi in the Congo to teach at university there. So we have great love for Africa. But the personal is, I am Jewish, and my father was born in Poland. And his family, some, not most, some came out before the Nazis arrived. And after the war, just one family member came out who survived in Poland. And that was the time, as you know, when the word Holocaust was first used, and genocide, to describe the murder of people because of their background, could be religion, could be tribe, could be colour. That was the first time it happened, and to the best of my knowledge, yours sadly is the second genocide. And so for me it is very personal, and I think it is lovely to see a community gathered here, and I hope you feel very welcome in this country. And so thank you very much for inviting me.
We want to remember, sadly, the way the world abandoned the country, where human beings were butchered for who they were, not for the mistake they made. We trust and we want to thank you that you are able to use a force of dedicated soldiers and dedicated people to step in. It was not by their might, it wasn't that they had powerful guns, it wasn't that they are more knowledgeable than anybody else, but you used them in their simplest way to take over and help stop that genocide. And we shall ever be indebted to you. And those leaders who dedicated their lives, a lot of people lost their lives in that fighting, but the few dedicated others helped to bring calm, and we shall be ever indebted to you as a country. We want to thank you for the survivors. Many over the years have been traumatized. They lost loved ones. They survived themselves narrowly. Father, we shall be ever indebted to you for the survivors. Let those who shed blood, the blood that will bring peace in the country, that nothing of that nature should ever come back, should ever happen again, never again in Rwanda and or elsewhere. Dear Father, genocide of that magnitude, or the genocide which should not be ever entertained. So continue to help Rwanda as it reviews itself, the leadership. Thank you so much. We will ever get indebted to the leaders. They could have had people revenging, fighting bloodshed over bloodshed. When circumstances of that nature happen, people revenge. But Father, there was no revenge. And people have progressed. Those who killed, those who are killed, people are living side by side. Like a church, and all that has helped to bring sanity to the country. We continue to pray for the leadership, the president, the ministers, those who are leading in different capacities, the churches, the pastors, the mosques, and all those institutions that are bringing peace and tranquility in the country to continue. So Father, today we want to thank you in this country to have had a chance also to come here to commemorate this genocide. Thank you so much for the presence of our High Commissioner and also the Mayor and many other people of different persuasions who have come here to join the team at Oxford. So help us through the program today. It's quite emotional, it can be upsetting, people are still traumatized over the many years, but Father, we know and trust that one day we will meet those people who died innocently. So when the resurrection comes, please resurrect. So take care of the program for this evening. In Jesus' name I pray. Amen. Thank you very much.
Muraho. I first visited Rwanda in 2007. It was during April, the time of commemoration. I remember seeing a sign written over many of the massacre sites. It read, "If you had really known yourself and you had really known me, then you would not have killed me." This is a message to those who participated in the 1994 genocide against the Tutsi in Rwanda. However, during my visit to this country 13 years later, I came to realise that it was also a message to me and to all of us who sat by in our comfortable houses in 1994, shrugging our shoulders when we saw the horrors replayed on the news and thinking to ourselves, not another disaster in Africa. There's nothing I can do about it. I feel ashamed that I was one of those people. As Edmund Burke once wrote, all that is needed for the forces of evil to triumph is for enough good men to do nothing. 29 years later, 29 years ago, the world failed the Tutsi people of Rwanda. We shrugged our shoulders, we beat our brows, and we did absolutely nothing to stop the genocide. 29 years later, the world still, in the main, continues to ignore the plight of those who survived. But Survivors Fund, SURF, has not forgotten or ignored their suffering. For 25 years, SURF has dedicated itself to supporting survivors of the genocide to rebuild their shattered lives. Deeply motivated by our inspirational founder, Mary Kayatesi Blewett, SURF has partnered with a host of amazing survivor-led organisations, including Avega, AERJ, JERJ, Solace Ministries, Ibuka, Kanda Rwanda, and Uwisenge Imanzi, amongst others, to develop a range of highly effective holistic programs. Any one angle of assistance, be it medical, economic, or social, would be an incomplete answer. Thus, SURF's programs have ranged from healthcare to house building, education to entrepreneurship. And the impact of SURF's work on the lives of survivors in Rwanda has been immeasurable. Over 15,000 genocide widows have developed livelihoods through our evidence-based wraparound support, including livelihood training, access to finance, counselling, and legal support. Over 5,000 student survivors have accessed entrepreneurship and work readiness training, resulting in the establishment of over 1,500 new businesses. Over 2,500 women genocide survivors, raped and infected with HIV, have been supported to access life-saving antiretroviral treatment. Over 1,500 young survivors have been supported to access legal support through the AERJ Legal and Counselling Helpline, securing a return of assets of over $1 million for young survivors. Over 850 marginalised youth born of rape to women survivors have graduated from school as a result of our education and counselling support. Over 400 houses have been built for vulnerable survivors still in need of secure shelter. Over 40 memorial sites have been constructed, providing decent burial for over 300,000 victims of the genocide. SURF has established 4 healthcare centres servicing more than 300,000 people every month. Over 1,000 survivors have been supported through university, and many now hold prominent positions in Rwanda. And most recently, SURF has been instrumental in opening the Phillies Place Children's Centre, providing free education programmes to nearly 1,000 children and serving as a vital community hub in Bugesera. None of this would have been possible without the ongoing support of SURF's many donors and benefactors. Your generosity, advocacy, and belief in our cause has been integral to SERV's success. Many, many lives have been transformed because of you. You have shown those who have felt so abandoned by the world that there are people who do care deeply. You have given survivors the greatest gift, that of hope, and for this we are eternally grateful to you all. And I think it is only fitting to end this speech by honouring the memory of the innocent souls who perished in the genocide, and acknowledging the bravery of those who survived. Their courage, their resilience, their dignity, and will to survive and to strive for a country where this never happens again is an inspiration to us all. The survivors show us the very best of what it means to be human. We honour and salute you. And at Survivors Fund, we vow to never forsake you. Thank you.
100 days of torture, 100 days of death. This is the Rwanda we know 29 years ago. For those faces we want to see are gone for eternity. Never again.
100 days of torture, 100 days of death. This is the Rwanda we know 29 years ago. For those faces we want to see are gone for all eternity. Never again. The churches were raided, the homes and shops too. They did not care, they were people, just like me and you.
They heard the scream and prayed, God please help me find your light, please give me strength, I don't want to die tonight.
They'd have to be quiet, they'd have to be quick, any loud sound and that would be it.
Every house was leaked, every person at risk. With every minute there was a death, there was no stopping this.
They checked every crease, they checked every corner, they pierced spears through the roofs and floors. They checked suitcases for babies and any signs of life at all. Time was running out, they could hear them approach. Their footsteps grew louder and louder, one after another. When it finally stopped, their time was up.
They came with matches, knives and sticks. They beat the innocent, they were ready to kill. They showed no mercy, they showed no pity, not an ounce of regret, oh how little.
The churches were raided, the homes and shops too. They did not care, they were people just like me and you.
Time was running out, they could hear them approach. Their footsteps grew louder and louder, each one after another. When it finally stopped, their time was up.
All they wanted was silence, but how can that dream be fulfilled? The screams of anxious children, waiting to live another day, still rings in the back of their heads. Under the floorboards we go, whatever is coming unknown. The shuffles of someone's feet makes my heart skip a beat, wondering if I'll ever set foot on concrete. Oh, please let us live our lives, they begged. But as the machetes flew into the atmosphere, they closed their eyes in defeat. Millions of Tutsis to defend, praying for this to come to an end. The genocide will never happen again.
Thank you so much, yes. I'm Susanna Pressel. I'm Chair of Oxfordshire County Council. That is sort of the equivalent of the Lord Mayor of Oxford City, but I cover a much wider area, including the city. it's about 700,000 people, I think. So I suppose it's, well, no, it's smaller than Greater Manchester, where some of you come from, but it's still quite big. And thank you very much for inviting me here today. I was Lord Mayor myself, actually, when about 15 years ago, and I came to Kwibuka at that time at your kind invitation. And although it was a long time ago, I remember it very vividly because it was such a moving occasion. And we need to keep remembering what happened, of course. I can remember also in 1994 when the genocide happened, hearing on the news every day what was going on, and I couldn't believe my ears. And I still can't really understand how and why this happened. And I know it could happen anywhere because there's good in everyone, but there's also bad in everyone, and any country can find itself with politicians who try to stir up hatred between groups and try and exploit tensions between groups. So I know it could happen anywhere, and we must all learn the lessons from what happened in Rwanda, which is what we're doing here today. I've been trying to think what the main lessons are that I would try and pass on, and I suppose it is quite simply behave towards others as you would wish them to behave towards you. Or perhaps just in 2 words, be kind. Everywhere we go, we have opportunities to be kind to other people, perhaps just to smile at someone or to say thank you as an extra thing to do. And I know that from myself and from others, we don't always do that. So let's all please try to remember, be kind. Keep that thought in our minds all the time, and perhaps it will make the world a better place and a happier place. But there's another 2 words that we must all remember, and the children mentioned it just now in their lovely poem, and that is just never again. Never again must we see this happen. So thank you very much for your persistence in commemorating the dreadful events of 29 years ago, and let's keep doing it. So never again. Thank you.
Abanyarwanda mw'icuraburindi iminsi ijana y'imiborogo wayihinduye iy'ubugingo. Iminsi ijana n'ambaramana abanyarwanda mw'icuraburindi iminsi ijana y'imiborogo wayihinduye iy'ubugingo. Mana y'abanyarwanda kirishimwe, waturinze n'ukuri ntitwapfa, wahinduye imibabaro yacu ibitwenge, akirishimwe Mana y'u Rwanda. Mana y'abanyarwanda kirishimwe, waturinze n'ukuri ntitwapfa, wahinduye imibabaro yacu ibitwenge, akirishimwe Mana y'u Rwanda. Wazanye abanyarwanda ubakura imahanga, ubakura ishyanga inyuma y'ishyamba, uraturinda n'ukuri ntitwapfa, akirishimwe Mana y'u Rwanda. Mana y'abanyarwanda kirishimwe, waturinze n'ukuri ntitwapfa, wahinduye imibabaro yacu ibitwenge, akirishimwe Mana y'u Rwanda. Mana y'abanyarwanda akirishimwe, waturinze n'ukuri ntitwapfa, wahinduye imibabaro yacu ibitwenge, akirishimwe Mana y'u Rwanda. Iyo mvuze Imana yibutse u Rwanda, nshyira hejuru n'ijwi rirenga, nta avuza impundu mvuza nikobe ntakira ishimwe mana y'u Rwanda mana y'abanyarwanda akira ishimwe waturinze n'ukuri ntitwapfa wahinduye imibabaro yaciye ibitwenge akira ishimwe mana y'u Rwanda mana y'abanyarwanda akira ishimwe waturinze n'ukuri ntitwapfa wahinduye imibabaro yaciye ibitwenge akira ishimwe mana y'u Rwanda iyo neza nawe irondora ni wowe mana ishumbusha watwishyuye imyaka inzigezariye akira ishimwe mana y'u Rwanda mana y'abanyarwanda akira ishimwe waturinze n'ukuri ntitwapfa wahinduye imibabaro yaciye ibitwenge akira ishimwe mana y'u Rwanda mana y'abanyarwanda akira ishimwe waturinze n'ukuri ntitwapfa wahinduye imibabaro yaciye ibitwenge akira ishimwe mana y'u Rwanda mana urakomeye mana y'abanyarwanda ubereye amashimwe mana y'abanyarwanda icyubahiro ni cyawe mana y'abanyarwanda mukozi w'umuhanga mana y'abanyarwanda waturinze ntitwapfa mana y'abanyarwanda wowe wibutse u Rwanda mana y'abanyarwanda akira ishimwe waturinze n'ukuri ntitwapfa wahinduye imibabaro yaciye ibitwenge akira ishimwe mana y'u Rwanda mana y'abanyarwanda akira ishimwe waturinze n'ukuri ntitwapfa wahinduye imibabaro yaciye ibitwenge akira ishimwe mana y'u Rwanda mana urakomeye mana y'abanyarwanda ubereye amashimwe mana y'abanyarwanda icyubahiro ni cyawe mana y'abanyarwanda mukozi w'umuhanga mana y'abanyarwanda waturinze ntitwapfa mana y'abanyarwanda wowe wibutse u Rwanda mana y'abanyarwanda akira ishimwe waturinze n'ukuri ntitwapfa wahinduye imibabaro yaciye ibitwenge akira ishimwe mana y'u Rwanda mana y'abanyarwanda akira ishimwe waturinze n'ukuri ntitwapfa wahinduye imibabaro yaciye ibitwenge akira ishimwe mana y'u Rwanda mana y'abanyarwanda akira ishimwe waturinze n'ukuri ntitwapfa wahinduye imibabaro yaciye ibitwenge akira ishimwe mana y'u Rwanda.
Nitwa Rudahungandiriye mfite imyaka 22 navutse muri 81.
I was born in 1981, so I'm 42 years old.
Navukanye n'abavandimwe batanu.
I was born with 5 siblings.
Ariko dusigaye turi babiri.
But we've remained 2 of us now.
Mu by'ukuri ntabwo byoroshye kuvuga ubuhamya bwabaye mu minsi 100 noneho nkabivuga mu mwanya muto ariko ndazi kugerageza.
It is not easy to speak about the testimony that things that happen in 100 days to speak in a short time, but I will try.
Ndahera gatoya mbere yuko Genocide nyirizina iba.
I'm going to start before genocide against the Tutsi started.
Kugira mbabwire uko namenye ko ndi umututsi.
to tell you how I came to know that I'm a Tutsi.
Mu by'ukuri twavutse nk'abana bisanzwe mu muryango nyarwanda.
We were born like any other children in a Rwandese family.
Abo twatangiye kumenya ibibazo by'amoko ari uko tugeze mu mashuri abanza.
But we came to know about the ethnicity when we went into school.
Bari bafite systeme yo kutubarura bakavuga ngo Abatutsi nibahaguruke n'Abahutu nibahaguruke.
They had a systemic code where they were asking Tutsis to stand up and Hutus to, so they were differentiating the two.
Mu by'ukuri kugeza icyo gihe ntabwo nari nzi ko ndi Umututsi, gusa abana twararanywe barambwe bahaguruka mu Batutsi kuko iwanyu muri Abatutsi.
Until then, I had not known that I'm a Tutsi until when we went into primary and like my fellow people told me to stand up because I'm a Tutsi.
Byarambabaje ko ntahagurutse mu Batutsi kuko duhaguruka twari bakeya, abana twiganaga baratuvugiriza induru ngo woo.
It was traumatizing to stand up as a Tutsi because when we stood up, people booed us.
Naratashye mbwira ababyeyi banjye kubera iki muri Abatutsi, kubera iki twebwe duhaguruka batuvugiza induru, abana bavugiza induru, why mwe muri Abatutsi?
I went home so sad and questioned my parents, why are you Tutsi? Because when we stand up, we get booed because we are Tutsi.
Ubuzima bwarakomeje ariko mpita mbona yuko hari ikibazo mu Rwanda, mpita mbona ko hari ikibazo mu muryango nyarwanda, dukura tubona ari ibyo bibazo, dukura tutafashwe nk'abandi bana bose, ariko ubuzima burakomeza nk'uko byari bisanzwe.
From that moment, I realized there was a problem within the Rwandan community, in our country, and we grew in that time and in that circumstances.
Kandi hote ngere ku gihe cya Genocide nyireze nitangira.
Let me go fast so I can reach to the genocide against the Tutsi when it started.
Nyuma yuko indege y'umukuru w'igihugu Habyarimana ari maze guhanuka.
After the plane crash of the president of the Republic of Rwanda, Habyarimana crashed.
Atangiye kubona ko ababyeyi bafite ikibazo, bafite ubwoba.
I saw that my parents started getting scared and they were a bit worried.
Hashize iminsi ibiri ku itariki 8 nibwo twatangiye kubona ibitero bitwatatse mu makarisi twatuyemo.
And then after that crash, that's when we started seeing people attacking us in our areas, in our residential areas.
Tuvuka mu ahitwa ku Kibuye, ubu ngubu ni Karongi.
We are born in a place which was previously called Kibuye, but at the moment is called Karongi.
Mu karere ka Nyamasheke ubu ngubu ariko icyo gihe hari ahantu bitirwa Amatama.
It is in a sector. It's a district called Nyamasheka. But it was that time Rwamatam.
Hari hatuye Abatutsi benshi cyane, mu by'ukuri abantu baza amateka yo ku Kibuye n'intara yari ituwemo n'Abatutsi benshi cyane mu Rwanda.
Those who know the history of Rwanda, the Kibuye was a place where a lot of Tutsis were residing.
Wongeyeho noneho ahitwa Rwamatama aho mvuka hari Abatutsi benshi cyane.
Then when you look at Rwamatama, that place was more even populated by Tutsis.
Abaza mu Bisesero twari duturanye mu Bisesero.
Those who know Bisesero, it was close by.
Nihuse ku itariki 8 hari mu mugoroba baratwataka.
As I go first on the 8th of April, people came and attacked us.
Abatutsi benshi twazi twirukankira mu ishyamba ryari turi hafi y'iwacu.
So most of the Tutsi went and ran and hid in the forest that was close by.
Twari duturanye n'ikiyaga cya Kivu gihana imbibi na Congo.
We were close by the river of Kivu that is gives the same to Congo.
Abenshi muri uwo mugoroba bashire mu Kivu, babajyanaga mu Kivu, abandi twirukanira mu ishyamba baduhigisha n'imbwa.
So many people died in that time, or they were thrown in that river of Kivu, and others were going hiding into the forest.
Twishe muri iryo shyamba, bamwe babiciramo, abandi bashobora kwambuka bajya muri Congo, ababishoboye. Twege tumara muri iryo shyamba amasaha make maze kwira, nibwo twahise twiorganiza kugira ngo tubashe guhungira aho hitwa kuri komine cyangwa mu rusengero kugira ngo tubashe kwisha mu rusengero niko bavuga yuko ariko tuzakira.
So some were killed, obviously. Some were able to go to Congo, but others we had to plan to go into either a community place or in a church to hide.
Ntabwo byari byoroshye kuko urugendo rwo kuva aho twari dutuye kugera kuri komini aho bitirwa Amatamo nyine hari kure cyane, hari mu by'ukuri ngeranyije nk'ibirometero 20 miles.
So where we were planning to go in Rwamatam commune, it was a long distance. It was about 20 miles.
aho rero niho ngiye kubabwira ibibazo twahuye nabyo bikomeye cyane.
So this is where I'm going to tell you what the problems we faced during that journey.
Ndihanganisha abana bari ahangaha nibumva mvuze amagambo akomeye arimo ateye ubwoba. Abana bari bafite imyaka nka 12 cyangwa 13 twanganaga muri icyo gihe, bari bumve wenda bibateye ibibazo mu bakomeze kuko ngiye nabibonye live ndi muto.
I want to comfort the young children that are here, the teenagers who are the age of around 15, because that's when it was around that age. Things that I might be saying, they might be traumatizing, but I want to just comfort you because I lived that life. As I said, we were 5 children. We were 3 girls and 2 boys. I was the firstborn.
When
we go to the commune or to the area we were running to, a few of us, the Tutsis, but we found our fellow Tutsis that had come to hide in that area. When the end, the bottom picture, that is where the commune was. That is where the district office were. Those buildings at the back, they were primary schools. When you look at the far end, there is a church. So when you look at the back, the forest, there was full of Tutsis that were coming, that had come in that place. We are hoping that they will be rescued and protected from that area. But that was not the case. That was a place that we were going to die from. That whole place was surrounded by the killers. We were so many of us already there. We were there for 4 days until the 12th of April. Those who were running from the FPL soldiers,
bari guhunga bajya muri Kongo ko hari inzira yinjira muri Kongo, abazi ku Kibuye ni inzira n'umuhanda winjira ujya muri Kongo, bose batugeze nibo batwishe bafatanyije n'abaturage bose n'interamwe zose zari zo ku Kibuye nibo batwice hari.
So the killers who were running away from the FPL in Montagne, they were passing through there because there is it is on the border of Congo. So as they were passing, they were killing us with the help of the residents, people that were living there.
Uko nibuka hari ahantu byari bikomeye, mama yambwiye yuko mfata karumuna kanje kagahungu kankurikiraga.
As I remember, that place is traumatizing for me. My mom had told me to take care of my young brother.
Nawe agafata abandi bana b'abakobwa batatu harimo na Karesi kari gafite imyaka 2 n'igice.
And she was going to take the other 3 girls with the youngest one as well.
Nafashe murumuna wanjye twirukanyira mu rusengero, rusengero rwarimo abantu barenga 250 no muri minibumwe yacu yo mu Rwanda, harimo amateka abazabishobora bazabibabwira, nanjye niyo makuru numvise ejo bundi ndi kubaza sister wanjye.
So I took my little brother and went into the church. There were 200 people hiding in that church. For those who know the history or the commemoration, there is history within that church that you can also search for.
Hano mureba hano leo hari ibiro bya komini, hari hegutseho gato hari agasozi gato, hari hashinze imbundi ikomeye cyane.
As you come close to the pole here, that's where the office of the district were, but there was a gun that was put there.
Baraturashe baraturasa kugeza ubwo abantu basaga nk'abamanuka hariya, hari hagoswe n'intera hamwe, umanutse bakamwica, ushara bakamwica, unyuze nyuma rusenge bakamwica, uraha bakamwica, none baraturasa badutera amagorete ku buryo ntawashobora gusohoka hariya.
As you can imagine, we were in the middle. At the back, we were surrounded by the killers. In the front where the pole is, there was a gun that was put there, so they were shooting at us, they were throwing grenades at us. We couldn't run from anywhere. We were stuck in the middle.
Ndibuka nari mu rusengero, amadirishya yose yarapfumutse, amabati kubera ama lance rocket bajugunyagamo, wabonaga imibiri abantu bagapfa, inyama z'abantu zikiyubika ku rukuta hejuru bigapfumuka. Gusa nabonaga nanjye wenda napfuye gusa nuko umuntu nyuma y'iminota mike yazukaga, ariko numvaga napfuye kuko abantu impande zose zari intumbi amaraso byari bikomeye.
As we were in the church, we could see the bodies, as they were throwing the grenades, we could see the bodies stuck on the walls and the blood all over the place.
Nibirebe nihuse mu kibuga barapfuye mu mashuri barabica hagasigara bake abagihumeka, ubwo twamaranye iminsi mike. Okay, abicanyi baragiye.
It's a long story. Those who were in the field were dead. Surrounding them, they were dead. In other words, there were corpses all over the place. The killers went and left.
Twaje guhurira hamwe nanone abari bakiriho kugira ngo tubashe kwisuganya.
Those who survived, we plan to meet again. We managed to meet again so we can comfort ourselves and try to move on.
Twari turi bake cyane.
We were very few.
Abantu bose bari bashize.
Many of our fellow survived. Many of our fellow people had died.
Twamaze nk'iminsi 5 hariya, noneho babwira abantu bo mu cyaro hose ngo muze, amahoro yatanzwe ntacyo muzaba. Yari system yabo kugira ngo noneho tubebeshe noneho abantu bose bisha mu mashyamba bose bazamuke durera nanone bazongere baze nanone batwice.
So as we were few, people were shouting, the killers were telling people it's now better, everything is fine. So it was a system that we're using so that people can come again in the same place so that they can kill them in more numbers.
Twabaye benshi ku itariki 17 z'ukwezi kwa 4 baragarutse mu masaa 9 nibwo yari rurangiza.
So the people came and then we were many again, and on the 17th of April the killers came again, and that was another massacre that was taking place.
Bari batumiye imisade ahantu haturutse abantu b'impande zose, abasirikari, abanyeramwe zikomeye. Bari bavuze yuko ahitwa Rwamatamu habananiye kubera abantu babashaga no kwirwanaho babatera amabuye, ariko bakavuga ati Abatutsi benshi kuko bafite ingufu, ariko muze mudufashe.
So what was happening, that they were calling for other people to come and help the soldiers. The killers were calling other people to help, saying that this place, Ramatam, was difficult because there were so many Tutsis there and there were so many people that could fight for themselves as well.
Nuko byagenze n'ubundi byari system imwe bagose hariya hose, hariya ya misozi mubona yariho aba imyaramwe ziteguye kuza bazihawe uruhushya, ariko habanje imbunda n'amagrenade n'amaranse rocket, imbunda zikomeye cyane kuko izo bahunganaga batakirwana n'inkotanyi zari zabatsinze bazihunganye muri Kongo, nizo baturashije imbere yuko bambuka muri Kongo.
So this is again the system they were using. They surrounded us again. They were using guns and all types of big guns that they were carrying. Remember, these killers were running away from the Inhotanyi soldiers that had already been defeated. So whilst they were running to Congo, they were killing us, killing people that were there as well.
Barishe, barica, barasa. Noneho bigezeho bahamagara abantu bose, noneho twabishe bose batuje, twabarashe, noneho mushyiremo imipanga n'ubuhiri n'ibiki byose kuko ntabwo tukirasa.
So they were satisfied that they had killed everybody, but now what they were going to use, they were going to chop and use machetes to chop people, use the hammers to hammer them, because they felt that they had already killed everybody.
Baratumanuye impande zose, abari mu rusengero, nje nari ndi nyuma y'urusengero muri cyo gihe kuri 17 ndi kumwe na murumuna wanjye n'ubundi mama yari afite system yo kutugabanya kugira ngo niba bamwe bapfuye abandi bazarokoka.
So I was with my young brother at the back of the church. My mom had separated us, so if few of us were killed, at least there would be some who could survive.
Twahuriye twese muri kiriya kibuga hagati y'ari amashuri ya primaire, ndabona abana havuguruye hari habi cyane. Duhurira hari mu kibuga hagati, twese badushyira hagati kugira ngo hataza kugira umuntu bacika.
So they brought all of us who had survived or who had remained there, they brought us in the middle of that wall, if you see, in the middle of the compound, so that nobody escapes.
Twari benshi cyane, twari benshi pe.
We were still many, despite how many had died.
mbere yuko bakoresha imipanga babanje nanone kuduteramo grenade muri kira kibuga.
Before they could use the machetes, they threw grenades or bombs within the compound as well.
Uhagurukaga hari yashaka kwiruka yageraga hari hepfo inyuma ku ruhande bakamutema.
So whoever tried to escape, as I said, we were surrounded. They would chop them or they would hammer them on their head.
Batwiroshemo baradutema nibuka ko nari nicaranye na mama hariya twari twahuye tukifite amahirwe yo ko twese tukiriho adushyira hamwe twese aratubwira reka mbasengere kugira ngo tujye mu ijuru kuko ndabona yuko nta kintu gisigaye tujye mu ijuru nta kundi.
My mom called us together and said, let me pray for you so that we can go to heaven. As we are not going to survive. Sorry about this.
Ntabwo byoroshye ariko no kwihangana tugomba kuba abagabo. So batwijemo baratemagura abantu barapfa benshi pe imivu y'amaraso iratemba hariya warugira ngo n'amazi n'imigezi.
As I said, they came into us, they killed us, they chopped us. That compound you're seeing was full of streaming blood.
Yaje kugira nijoro nihuse uko no buhamya burebure ndahaguruka.
At night, I'm going to go fast because it's a long testimony. When it got to night, I woke up, I stood up.
Abicanyi bari baragiye.
The killers had already left.
Ariko hari hasigaye imirongo y'abana bari gupfa nk'umwuka.
But there were tears and cries and screams of children and people fighting for their last breath.
Ntabwo nakwibagirwa sound y'abantu bari guhirita bapfa.
I cannot forget the sound of those that was crying and breathing their last breath. Even now, I do remember those sounds. But we comfort ourselves. So that place, that's where my mom, mother, and my 3 sisters were left. They chopped their head in my eyes.
My
little sister that follows me, she's the third one. She stood up from among the dead. She climbed it. That is the little girl you see in that picture there. At that time, she was 7 years old. She is she follows me the third, so she is the third sibling. I was with my mom. I saw everything. I saw their death. It was heartbreaking. My little sister, they had broken her arm, so her arm was already had a fracture. We were covered by blood, all of us. We walked on top of corpses and climbing and jumping corpses of people there. But to be fair, we didn't know where we were going. I didn't even know that place either. But I was the older one. I took the responsibility of my little sister. So we went at the back of that church. There were people who were still alive, but again they had wounds, they were bleeding, but it was hard to see.
Twazamutse kuri musozi nge na sisa wanjye twageze hara hejuru nko mu saa 6 z'ijoro.
We climbed that mountain slowly. We got there around midnight.
Twahazungurutse hafi nk'icyumweru tutazi aho tujya tutazi naho tuva.
We went round and round ourselves in that place for about a week because we had no clue of where we were going.
Hariya haruguru hari ishyamba, hariya kuri musozi hari ishyamba, gusa twarigiyemo cyo nyebuka twarigiyemo bararitwika.
As we went into that forest, there was a forest near that mountain or that hill, and we went to hide in. Whilst we were hiding, and they burnt the forest. But thank God, the fire didn't catch us.
Igihe cyaje kugera no kubera n'inzara kubera no kutamenya ahantu mba turi gusa twarajyaga nk'amapera mu ishyamba kubera inzara ntekereza ko nasubira nibura aho twaturutse iwacu nibura kuhagira abantu bashobora kudufasha.
So because you can imagine a whole week with no food, what we were surviving on were guavas that we were eating in there. So I thought maybe if we go back to our homeland or our home, maybe there will be people that will help us.
Uriya mushiki wanjye yari amaze gucika intege kubera no imvune n'inzara. Hari aho nabyageraga kuri uriya musozi kubera kugenda niruka duhura n'ibitero by'interahamwe niruka nkamusiga ariko nakebuka inyuma nkabona ari kure ari kurira. So I didn't have a choice nkasubira inyuma nkamufata nkamuheka ariko nanjye nambaraga narifite kubera n'inzara.
It reached a point, you can imagine my sister, as I said, she had a broken arm, she was weak, she hadn't eaten. I used to run when the killers were following us, and when I look back, I've left her back, so I would go back again to pick her up. But I was also weak because we hadn't eaten for a long period of time.
Ariko umunsi umwe nafashe icyemezo hari nko mu saa 9 z'ijoro mbwira mushiki wanjye mubwira ngo tugende.
But I had one night, I was around 3 in the morning, I had to make a decision, and I said to my sister that we need to go.
Nari nzi icyerekezo kigera iwacu, nari nzi icyerekezo ariko ntabwo nari nzi inzira.
I knew the direction of going home, though I did not know properly the way, but I knew which direction to take.
Twazamutse imisozi tumanuka indi tunyura mu mashyamba nta nzira twacagamo gusa narebaga icyerekezo cy'iwacu gusa navuga wenda nzahagera.
We climbed hills and went bottom of the hills. We went around, but I could focus on the direction of my homeland, and I knew I would reach there at some point.
Nari nzi umubyeyi wasenganaga na mama wanjye.
I knew a parent who was praying with Mama.
Nari nzi n'aho atuye.
I knew where they lived.
Niwe natekereje ko ashobora kudufasha kubera asenga.
I thought that is the only person I thought that would help us because she used to pray.
Twageze hafi yaho yaratuye bukeye abantu bari gutangira kujya kwica uko karakazi.
We reached at her place the morning when the killers were waking up to go and do their job to kill people.
Igende kuhareba epfo gato nka metero 5 kujya magere.
As I was looking at her like 5 miles away, before I could reach where this lady lived.
Ibitero byarambonye bimvugiriza induru banyirukaho.
The killers saw me at that moment and they shouted and they chased me.
Ubwo mushiki wanjye abacaho.
My sister managed to escape.
So
I went back running.
Barambuze ariko ntabwo nza kunihishe ariko baranshatse barambura.
I don't know how I hid, but I managed to hide that they couldn't find me.
Yiriwaho kugeza nimugoroba.
As I was staying there until the evening.
Ngeze mugoroba mitanja kureba kuri wa mama ariko nazi ko mushiki wanjye bahamwishe.
I went to the lady as I said, but in my heart I thought my sister is already dead.
Kubw'amahirwe namusanze kimuzima ariyo.
But thank God I found her there.
Narishimye cyane umumama aratwakira duha ibiryo tuyampa imyenda twari nari mfite amaraso ahantu hose aduha amazi turoga.
Thank God I found my sister there. This lady accepted us and took us in. She gave us clothes. We had blood everywhere. She gave us water to shower and food to eat.
Aratubwira ntabwo byoroshye bana banjye twabanye n'ababyeyi banyu bari imfura ariko sinzi ko bizashoboka kubera ko bazabanyicana.
she comforted us and said, my children, I know it's not easy. I lived with your parents, they were good people, but I don't know if you can stay here because they will kill you from here.
yadukuye mu nzu hashize nk'iminsi 3 atwubakira mu gikari.
She took us out of her main home and built something, a tent or a shelter, thank you, a shelter at the back.
Haje kuza kandi kana kahongera kagakobwa.
There is another little girl that came also trying to hide.
Ubwo tubaye 3.
So we were 3 of us.
Byari bikomeye.
It was hard.
Yatubwiye ko tugomba kujya mu ishyamba ngiye nako gakobwa ariko sister wanje ko kari gato akagasiga mu isanduku muri box.
So she said that me and this little girl, we had to go and hide in the forest, but because my sister was so young, she was going to hide her in a box.
Murambarira kugeza icyo gihe amatariki yari yavuye mu mutwe ntabwo nibuka gusa nabonaga bucya bukira.
You will excuse me, I can't remember the dates. All I knew was day and night.
Twagiye mu ishyamba iryo nababwiye twahongemo bwa mbere kuko twaduturanye ryari ishyamba ry'inzitane ririmo n'inyamaswa nyinshi.
As you remember, I told you that we went into the first forest. So this lady was living close to me, so we went in the same forest, but this forest was filled of wild animals as well.
Nabonye inyamaswa kandi ntacyo zadutwaye, abantu nibo bari barabaye inyamaswa.
I saw wild animals and they did not do anything to us. Instead, a human being, they were the ones who had turned into animals.
Twajyaga tuzamuka rimwe na rimwe kugira ngo aduhe ibiryo nijoro.
We used to come back at night so that we can eat.
Tugasubiraho tukatwibera mu ishyamba, twirirwa mu ishyamba, turara mu ishyamba, twirirwamo twizenguruka turaho tumeze nk'inyamaswa.
We would come at night to eat, but we would spend day and night going around in the forest. We were like animals.
Twamaze mu ishyamba hafi ukwezi n'igice.
We spent a month and a half in that forest.
Nihuse muri icyo gihe aho twabaga turi mu ishyamba ku manywa y'ihangu, nabonaga umurongo w'abantu benshi cyane uhunga, ariko nkibaza bira n'ibiki. Bari abantu bari kujya kumbi bara interahamwe, abantu basize bisha abantu, abasirikari, abo RPF itsinze gutyo bari guhunga, ariko njye ntabwo nzi ibyo.
As we were hiding in the forest, we could see people running and a big line crossing by the forest. And I didn't know then who they were, but there were people that had already been defeated by the RPF soldiers and others who had already finished killing.
Nyuma yaho gato naje kubona n'abasirikare b'abazungu.
After a while, I met soldiers who were white.
Arazamutse mbwira wa mukecuru wa mama ndabwira ariko ko mbona abasirikare b'abazungu uriya bari abazungu ntabwo badukiza.
And I went to say to this mom or this lady who was protecting us or hiding us, and I said, I've seen the white soldiers. Don't you think they would be able to help us and rescue us?
Arambwira ngo nta kibazo mwana wanjye nzafasha kubimenya. Niba babakiza ntabwo mbizi ariko n'abafaransa bakoze icyo bita zone turquoise, nzabaza babakiza nzababwira.
The lady said, don't worry, I'll speak to them and see if they'll be able to help you. If they are able to help you, I'll let you know.
Niko byagenze, yashatse umuntu amubwira ko ahisha Abatutsi.
She found somebody and said, I'm hiding the Tutsis.
Ariko umuntu nawe yamubereye imfura kuko ntabwo yaje kutwica.
But thank God that person was kind enough not to kill us.
Umunsi umwe rero twagiye gushaka ibyo kurya, wa mukecuru yatubwira ati mube standby, hari abafaransa baza kubareba hano mu rugo.
One day we went to eat and she said to us that be standby, there are French people, soldiers that will come to see you.
Abafaransa batatu bafite imbunda bageze mu rugo rugo.
3 soldiers came into that home. They had guns with them.
Baradutwara.
They took us.
Baratumanura ku musozi kugera ku muhanda, hari kure, hari amaguru ariko ntabwo byari cyane.
They took us down the hill onto the main road.
Ariko impande zose ku musozi abantu baratubonye bavuze induru.
But as they were taking us around the area, everybody who saw us shouted.
Byamaze kugera mu kwezi kwa gatandatu ngeranyije mu mpera zako.
I think it was around the end of June.
Twebwe twagize ibibazo inkotanyi zageze kubandika ariko twe twagize ibibazo zatugezeho nyuma abantu barashize.
And we were unlucky that the Inkotanyi soldiers reached on many other people, but where we were, they reached there a bit late when many had died.
abantu bari bageze aho bica n'abana babo, ugasanga umuhutu yabyaranye n'umututsi akavuga abana b'abana bafite n'amaraso kuri nyina reka mbice akica abana be.
We had reached a point where parents were killing their own children. For example, if somebody had a child with a Tutsi, they would kill a child because they had the bloodstream of Tutsis. Those are the news that I came to know from this lady who was protecting us.
Natinze abafaransa badushize mu majipo yabo batujyana ahantu bita Igishyita, naho hari komini hari hafi ya Bisesero.
So these French soldiers took us into the jeep and took us into another area.
Ubwo barokotse Bisesero bari baragiye mu Nkotanyi tekera.
Those who were in Bisesero, they had already been rescued by the Inhotanyi.
Twageze mu Gishyita.
When we reached in Chishita, in that area,
igitangaje nuko abasirikare b'Abafaransa aho kugira batujyane mu Nkotanyi batuvanze n'abandi bari guhunga muri Kongo nk'abasanzwe.
Instead of the French people to take us to rescue us and take us into Inhotanyi, instead they took us in another group of the Hutus that was fleeing to Congo.
Twahamaze iminsi nk'itatu ahantu bakambikaga mu mashuri, nabo bamaraga iminsi mike bakongera bagafata inzira.
So we spent like 3 days. They were also hiding. They were camping in the schools, and they would spend like 3 days, and then they would continue their own journey.
Hari umuntu yaraje w'umumama aratubwira ngo ariko abana Abatutsi.
Then this woman came to us and looked at us and said, "But these children are Tutsi."
Aribajije ariko ko nari nkize mfuye gute noneho.
And that moment I was like, I thought I had survived. How am I going to die now again?
Twaragiye nabonaga abafaransa b'abasirikare bari kwikinira volleyball bishimye nta kibazo.
These soldiers who had brought us here, they were having fun, they were playing volleyball, they were having a good time.
Ndagenda begera mvuga agafaransa gake ndababwira mwa Tutsi Nkotanyi.
I went to them, I would speak a small French and said, I am Tutsi, take me to Nkotanyi.
Niho namenye ijambo rescape icyo gihe.
That is the first time I understood rescape, meaning a survivor.
Banditse liste y'abantu bazanye aho ngaho gusa bandikaho hejuru ngo rescape ariko barigendera.
All they did was they took a list and put names there and wrote survivors and they left.
Kubw'amahirwe hari hakurya yaho hari abantu niba ari minwari niba ari UN kugeza ubu ntabwo nzi ibyo ari byo ariko bambaraga blue hat.
Across the road there were people. I don't know if they were UN soldiers. I don't know who they were. All I know, they were wearing blue hats.
Hari umumama twari turi kumwe waturebaga tugira impuhwe yarazi Igifaransa niwe watujyanye atugeza kuri abo minwari atuvugira avuga abantu mu by'ukuri ntabwo bari guhunga muri Kongo n'Abatutsi bari gushaka guhura n'Inkotanyi muri yo kuntu mwabafasha.
She took us, and because she could speak French, she advocated for us and said, these children are not the ones going to Congo, they are Tutsi, can you help them to meet the Inhotanyi?
Wow, okay, baradufasha, mu by'ukuri baradufasha, bakingura bariyeri, bari bafite bariyeri, bakingura bariyeri, badushyira aho babaga.
They were helpful, they opened the place they were, and they allowed us in, and they helped us.
Mu gitondo cyaho badushize mu modoka yabo badushyira Inkotanyi.
That morning they put us in their car and took us into Inhotanyi.
Na ahantu habaga hari bariya batarengaga, Inkotanyi zitarengaga, hari zone turikwaza no kuva Abafaransa bageragaho cyangwa abandi noneho ushaka kujya mu Nkotanyi kujya mu Nkotanyi ariko bari bataraharenga urenda aho ngaho hakiri gahunda wenda ntaze.
So there was they had put like a border, if I may say. So the RPF soldiers couldn't cross over, and there was around French people, am I right? French people there, so they took us and managed to make us cross to go to the RPF in Nkotanyi.
Narishimye cyane mu by'ukuri ibyishimo nkabona uko mbivuga ko twahuriye n'Abatutsi benshi babashije kurokoka ibyishimo byarandenze twatangiye kubona ubuzima.
I was happy, I was overwhelmed with joy because at last we had met survivors that were there, and that is the moment we started having life.
Ntabwo mugize mwumvamo mvuga papa.
You didn't hear me speaking about my father.
papa wanjye yabaga I Kigali.
My father lived in Kigali at that time.
Mura n'inkotanyi nabajije ntago mwamboneye papa.
When I met the FPR in Hotanyi, I asked, did you see my father?
Kubera ko nibuka ko papa ubundi papa yitwaga Rwigema ariko batangiye kumuhiga kubera izina rye kuva kera.
My father's name was Rwigema, so because of his name, he had been already a target from the beginning.
Yarambwira ko Rwigema ari inkotanyi kera yarabimbwiye.
I knew that Rwigema was an FPR in Hotanyi.
Nari nzi ko wenda nawe yagiye mu nkotanyi kubera yitwa Rwigema.
I thought maybe he had gone into Inhotanyi as well because of his name.
Amahirwe make naje kumenya amakuru nyuma narakuze bambwira ko nawe yajyanye n'abandi muri Nyabarongo bamushize muri Nyabarongo n'abandi.
But years later, I came to know that he was among the people that was also thrown in Nyabarongo River.
Inkotanyi rero twamaranye nabo ijya aho ngaho ariko baza gufata abana batoya batupakiza bus.
So we stayed with the Inhotanyi soldiers for a while, but after a while they took the young ones and put them in the bus.
Batujyana mu kigo cy'imfubyi.
And they took us in an orphanage.
Nuko ubuzima bwatangiye bw'ikigo cy'imfubyi.
That's how our life in an orphanage started.
Ndatekereza nagarukira ariko reka nshime.
Let me stop here, but allow me to thank.
Ndashima ariko ndaza no kugaya.
I will thank, but at the same time I will condemn. Thank you. To condemn.
So ndashimye Inkotanyi.
I want to thank Inhotanyi
kandi bikuye ku mutima.
from the bottom of my heart.
Baduhaye ubuzima.
They gave us life.
Ababyeyi bacu batari bari.
Where our parents weren't, they were there.
Baratureze.
They raised us.
Baduhaye imyenda yo kwambara.
They clothed us.
Baduhaye amazu.
They gave us homes.
Ntacyo batadukoreye.
They did everything they could.
Urabona ko akana gatoya bari baravonye akaboko ubu no mama mukuru yarabyaye nandi narabyaye.
This is my sister. Remember this, they had broken her arm, but now she's a big, beautiful girl. She's a mother. She has children, and I have children too.
Twabyaye abakobwa n'abahungu.
We have daughters and sons.
Abari bazi ko twashize ariko twarashibutse.
Those who thought that they had killed us or they had finished us, no, we rose up.
Mu byukuri munshimire Inkotanyi mwese.
Please accept and thank the Inhotanyi for me.
Ndagaya rero n'abandi.
I am going to condemn others.
Ndatekereza nta kibazo.
I hope it's okay.
Ndagaya abantu bakoze Genocide.
I condemn those who did the genocide against Tutsi.
Baradusebeje.
You betrayed us.
Bakoze ibintu bibi bikomeye.
You did worse.
Biriya mujya mwumva ukuntu bambuye abamama ubusa bakica n'abana bato n'impinja byose narabibonye ndi muto.
Why do you hear that they undressed women and killed young children? This is true because I saw it at a young age.
Reka tubagabo dukomere twibuke twiyubaka numva narangiza ngo murakoze kuntega amatwi.
Let us be gentlemen and rebuild and renew ourselves. Thank you for listening to me.
May I also introduce welcoming Mr. Jabo, chairman of NAC, to come and give his remark. Thank you.
Murakoze, nanjye mbasuhuze, Your Excellency, High Commissioner Anima, Your Lordship. Thank you for joining us, distinguished guests, fellow Rwandans, and particularly you young people. This moment is yours. Please allow me to use my mother tongue. I'll try to summarize at the end in English. Ndavuga mu Kinyarwanda. Nitwa Jabo Butera. Nkaba ndi intumwa y'Abanyarwanda batuye mu Bwongereza. Ariko nagomba mbonana n'abandi benshi duhuje twita abayobozi duhagarariye abandi. Ubutumwa ashaka kugira ngo basangize kuri uyu munsi ni igihe mubonye imbaga y'abanyarwanda duhuje aha ngaha, turi hano, turahagurutse, turaje, turahuye hamwe kugira ngo icya mbere kwibuka. Benshi muri twangaha mu bakuze abo mu Kinyarwanda muribuka. Kwibuka n'umunyarwanda ni ikintu utaza agomba kwibagirwa. Hari igihe usanga mu myaka irarenze, ibihe byarenze, bikaba nk'uwundi munsi, nk'iyindi gihe gisanzwe. Oya, nk'umunyarwanda uzajya wibuka, ni ngombwa, kandi wigishe n'abana kwibuka. Ariko twiyubaka ubumwe, unite. Uyu munsi twagize urugendo, the walk to remember. What was the purpose? Kuki twagiye mu rugendo? Mwigisha abana impamvu. Iyo mpamvu nta yindi, twahagutse nk'abanyarwanda tuti ntibizongera. We renew the vow, ntibizongera biturutse kuri twebwe abanyarwanda. Nubwo butumwa abandi bayobozi dusangiye imirimo bamenye ngo mbabwire, mwibutse kandi mukomeze kwibuka muri iki gihe n'igihe cyose. Let me summarize what I've just said. Is a message I've been given by the leaders. I'm the chairperson of the Rwandan communities in England. But I'm just an ambassador. Sorry for borrowing the title. I'm just a voice of the many other leaders together. They gave me a message to say, as Rwandan, we come together, particularly on this day, for the big purpose of remembering. It's a duty to remember. It's not something to forget, a circumstance to forget, or to take lightly. It's our duty to remember, but we do that as a unity. We do it as united. And today, together, we did a walk to remember for this message of renewing our commitment, saying never again. We walked the street of Oxford with that purpose, saying never again. And for all of us to always remember. That's the message that the leader sent, for that to share with everyone. With that particular note, let me welcome our High Commissioner to give us the remark of the day.
Anyway, good evening. Mumbabarire nje kuvuga mu Cyongereza kugira ngo inshuti zacu, abashyitsi baje kudushyigikira, kubana natwe hano, kudufata mu mugongo tujyane, kandi ndakeka ko n'abanyarwanda bari hano bakurikira Icyongereza. Yaba ari byo? Yes. Thank you. Let me try to recognize those who came here ahead of me. From Lillian, thank you very much for your work. Arda Peterson Senhenga, thank you for your prayer. Yves Mutejima, Chair, thank you for your words. Mayor of Oxford, James Fry, Thank you so much for being with us, and thank you for your words. Sam Hunt, Chairperson SARF, thank you for your words, and thank you for the work you do with our communities. The children who did a poem here, thank them wherever they are, they did great. Susan Pressel, Chair Oxfordshire, thank you so much. RCA, they did a song, Apollinaire Group, thank you very much. Adrian Rudahunga, survivor, I don't know whether he's back in the room. Abamama baririmbye 100 days. I don't know where they are. Thank you so much. Chairman Jabo Butera, Chairperson of Rwanda National Association of Rwandan Communities. Thank you for your message. I want to thank you all for this evening and for this time. And I really hope I will be brief. My briefness is a complicated thing for me. I think I was not trained about that one, but I will really try. I will do my best. Why do we commemorate? Why do we sit here? Why do we make time and come from our homes on a chilly afternoon, and we have other things to do, and we travel the length and breadth of England to come here? Why do we do it? I think whenever we are here, it's important to ask that question and to answer. Each of us should have a conviction about what we are doing. And sometimes we say, it is obvious, people know what happened. People have just listened to a testimony from a live young person who went through hell. People think it is quite obvious, but I think we should always find the reasons why we do it and be committed to those reasons. And my assessment, my thinking is like this. The seeds of disunity, the seeds of division were sowed openly. Openly in Rwanda. The seeds of dividing us were sowed openly. It was probably even in meetings like this. So we need these same meetings to sow the seeds of unity, to take ourselves back in time and tell ourselves that this country of ours called Rwanda, Mayor, the few mayors, our love for our country, if you look back and look at these people, we love our country so much. We might have gone through problems, but we love our country to death. So we need to remember that the seeds of disunity were planted. Rwanda was a nation. It lived thousands of years as a nation. And by a nation, I mean a people with a language that is one language, that is with a culture, with their own traditions, with the specific space they occupy, their land, with many things that on which they don't differ. Many things, except just economic activities or social activities which they could belong to or not belong to. So Rwanda was a nation. But the seeds of dividing Rwandans, separating them, and growing a wider rift in between them, to the point that in 1994, probably before, after independence and onwards, or just before, the world started hearing things like tribes. If I ask our friends from, not from Rwanda, from outside of Rwanda, I'm sure you started hearing about tribes in Rwanda. Hutu tribe, Tutsi tribe, Twa tribe. These tribes never existed. Until today, they don't exist. It's not about me, because I'm a high commissioner. It's about science and facts and history. These tribes didn't exist. I've just been checking quickly when I was sitting there. A number of countries and ethnicities that have differences and, which you can tell, these are different, these are different. The United Kingdom has the English, the Welsh, the Scottish, the Irish, different guys, different people, some with a different language. Am I wrong? I'm told Welsh is a language you can't speak, and English, they are not the same as English. I'm told. I don't know whether I'm right. Belgium has over 19 ethnicities. Germany has over 22 ethnicities. Switzerland has over 7. Sweden has more than 18. Now, those are differences with people. They are different. The space they occupy is different. Their language is different. Their cultures are different. Their traditions are different. They're different. Rwandans were one nation. We occupied one space. We had the same everything. But then there was a time in the world when it was okay to look at people in terms of race, in terms of superiority, in terms of differences. And that wasn't African. It came from Europe. It wasn't African. It came from Europe. Racial superiority played a big role in the 1945 and before, didn't it? So, in Rwanda, the reason we come here, and we will continue to come, and we should continue to come and commemorate the genocide against the Tutsi, it's because the seeds of division and the whole journey of division happened in broad daylight, happened as people saw. People saw Rwandans getting divided more and more and more. So that's one big reason that we should commemorate. Second big reason is we should always drum the drums of unity. Because the drums of disunity were beaten, were drummed for so many years. As people watched. This home where Rudahunga went to an elderly lady who was a Christian who prayed with her mother, his mother, and she said, look, you guys, you are my children. I should be protecting you. But someone will come here and kill you and also kill me with you. That was the situation in Rwanda. That lady knew the power of unity, the power of togetherness, knew the power of who Rudahunga is to that mother. In Rwanda, mothers are our mothers, all of us. They are not mothers of so and so only. They belong to all of us. If you are a father, you are a father to everybody. That's our culture, that's our tradition. But the genocide scattered all that. So why would we commemorate? To bring that back. When I see parents from Oxford, when I see parents from Plymouth, when I see parents from Manchester, here, Coventry, everywhere, I'm so overjoyed because we are bringing back our Rwanda. And we will bring it back. And we should bring it back. The third reason that I think is connected. The second one is the next generations. They now know, they have a glimpse, they now detect what the United Rwanda meant, what the Rwanda as a nation meant. The young generations now know. True, you might have been born in a situation where division was rife, ethnic extremism was rife, but now, 29 years down the road, you have detected, you have tested, you have seen, you have lived. And that's how we intend that Rwanda of yesterday is going to be in our past. But the Rwanda of today and the Rwanda of tomorrow is our Rwanda. We might have had a terrible past, but we will not have a terrible future. We shouldn't. That would be another tragedy. The third reason is we always need to stand up to denial. Genocide is the crime of crimes. Those who committed it will always try to deny it. Those who were found in Rwanda, on Rwandan soil, and they were brought to justice, and they went through the Gacaca process, they no longer find a reason to deny anything. They now find a reason to live with the new dispensation that we are all trying to craft. But there are those who found their way out of Rwanda into other countries, including this country we are sitting in, for whom justice has not been done. But if that hasn't been done, what they are doing themselves and their network of friends and their support groups is to deny the genocide. So as we are here, we are an army of pushing back on deniers. All of us, each of you, wherever you are, push back on genocide denial. Don't allow anybody to deny the genocide and just walk out of the room. Tell them they are lying. Only that word, tell them they are lying. Tell them they are denying the genocide. Tell them and walk away before they walk away. Tell them they are liars in their face. Because they are. So the reason we come here is to remind each other that we need to stand on our guard. We shouldn't let our guard down. And then the reason we come here is to remember things like what Mr. Rudahunga has just told us. The genocide against the Tutsi was committed in broad daylight for 100 days. People woke up in the morning, like we all wake up in the morning and go to work. Even in the language, it was called going to work. So you go to work in the morning, you come back at 5 in the evening. If you are the wife, then the husband has made for you tea and dinner. If you are the wife, the husband, then your wife has prepared dinner for you, and you shower, and next morning you go. 100 days. And you're killing people. That's the work you are doing. So we should not forget that, because when we are speaking about it in Oxford, someone who is new to us, someone who is a friend to us, someone who we bring into our communities, might start thinking it is just crime, like you can go in the night, waylay me at my home, and shoot me and run away at night, in the middle of the night. No. Genocide was created by friends, by neighbors, was committed by friends, by neighbors, by leaders, by Christian leaders, by preachers, by leaders of government, by soldiers, by policemen, that knew each other, that knew the people they were killing. That's how, in 100 days, it was easy to massively kill people. So when we come here, we remember that fact, and we get it known to other people that the genocide in Rwanda, what didn't happen at night? It didn't carry people from one place to go to kill in another place. No, people woke up and went to their neighbor 10 meters away and killed them. 20 meters away and killed them. Then 1 kilometer, killed them. Then community work. Okay, let's go and kill many people. Let's run all of us to the next church, to the school, to the whatever it is, and kill people and come back. Nobody killed far away from where they lived. And then incitement, the other reason we should come here and exchange on these things is that incitement to genocide, when we are here in the Western world, there are certain values and principles the Western world holds so dear, like freedom of speech. Free speech is something so sacrosanct in the West, and it should be so sacrosanct everywhere. But you know what happened during the genocide? Radios in Rwanda, from morning to evening. There is a specific radio that you probably know the name, called RTRM, but there are also other papers and other publications which on a daily basis simply did genocide as radios, by saying so and so is not yet dead, please go look for him. That family, we don't know where they are, nobody has accounted for their bodies. So go and do the killing. Or, pushing reluctant people who are reluctant to go and kill, just call them out on radio. These guys are reluctant. If they are reluctant, go and kill them also. So you actually whip them into going to kill. So that was free speech. That was free speech. We have been told variously that the radios could not be jammed, could not be bombed, because that would be violation of free speech. So these are things we shouldn't forget. We should remember them. So free speech was a tool to kill so many Rwandans because people are on the radio. Maybe that's a conversation that people should have, but we should have to go through them in places like now. The other point we should commemorate is that the Rwanda Patriotic Front and its army, the Rwanda Patriotic Army, stopped the genocide. It was outgunned, outnumbered, hungry. They simply had determination to save the country. That's all. That's all. The international community had looked on in I don't know whether it was a confusion, but the international community didn't stop the genocide at all. They could. Instead, they reduced peacekeepers' numbers. So the Rwandan Patriotic Front and its the Rwandan Patriotic Army stopped it. And the reason this Rudahunga, as a young man, could use his last remaining breath and speak some bit of French and say, Inhotanyi. He did not know where they were. He only knew they would save him. That's what he knew. So he knew between the difference between being saved and not being saved. And he knew Inhotanyi would save him. And that's the journey we have been on. So if we stop commemorating, all these things will be forgotten. So we should not forget. And we should not stop commemorating. Because if we forget, that is how history repeats itself. That's how in another place it can happen. And then we'll be here saying, how did it happen? 1945, never again
That's when that's the word and the strength in it and the slogan in it. That's when it was coined, isn't it? 1945. 1994 it happened. Why? Because there were no actions. There were no actions on a daily basis. There were no actions on an annual basis. There were no specific actions. Never again cannot be a slogan. No, it can only be reality because people do real actions. People do real things to transplant hate, to transplant divisionism, to transplant extremism, and replace them with something else. That's what we do. So that's what I thought I should share about why we commemorate now. The justice, I mentioned a little bit about it. Now I'm going to move so fast so that I commit myself to being brief. We did justice in Rwanda. The large plank of the approach to justice was a system called Gacaca. Many of you know Gacaca. Gacaca looked for truth, looked for expedition, looked for accountability, looked for involvement of the community, and looked for justice in the end so that we could reconcile. Because we could not do an eye for an eye, then we should reconcile. Should find a system that will take us to a situation where we can start to reconcile. Start to tell a survivor of the genocide that you are the only one whom we know has something to give. The rest of us have nothing to give you. We know you are angry, we know you are hurt, we know everything, but you are the only one who has something to give. And it's forgiveness that you can give. But you need to get there. You need to do the justice, bring people to justice, bring people to account, bring people to tell you this is what they did. So justice beyond Rwanda, I just mentioned a little bit of it. We don't control that. We keep pushing, keep struggling to get it, but many countries have done deportations of genocide suspects, have done extraditions of genocide suspects, or have done trials of genocide suspects. Many countries, the US, Canada, France, Belgium, Germany, Denmark, Sweden, name it. The odd man out I won't mention. Denial. Denial, I mentioned it, so let me jump it. But you should always remember it is the last stage of a genocide. It is the last stage. If you see someone in denial, you know that they're in the last stage of genocide. Genocide doesn't stop at exterminating people. No. It goes on to denial of the crime. That's what happened after the Holocaust. That's what's happened look at all these places where a genocide has been reported. Denial follows, just like night follows day. So don't let our guard down. Whichever place you are, wherever you work, wherever you go to pray, wherever you interact with people on WhatsApp groups or whatever, don't allow a denier to be a denier. Turn them. Tell them denial is not going to change these facts. Tell them to turn themselves into people who accept this history, because that's the only way they can heal and be healed by that history. To survivors, you had this young man. In this room, you could pick up anybody else and they would tell you a story like his story, or worse, in this room and in many other rooms, in many other places, in the whole of Rwanda. To survive, my view, is not just to survive in 1994. No. I think to survive is a daily struggle. I think you survive almost every day. the stuff he was telling us is stuff from his heart. He's not reading from notes, because he remembers it, like he remembers what he did in the morning. And it's 29 years. That is what to survive the genocide means. That is what it means. It is a big thing. But it is a journey with that memory. It is a journey of a lot of courage. It is a journey with a lot of renewal. And it is a journey of a commitment to the departed, those who died. So, at one point, we all owe them a duty, because they died a death they shouldn't have. So we all owe them a duty. And we will continue to owe it to them. And today, as we sit here, we owe it. We are paying homage to them. We are remembering them. We are giving them dignity. We are giving them honor. And I think the renewal that our country has put in place, put in motion, is to ensure that, yes, we have survivors, we go this journey with them. They were young, now they are big, but our children, their children, our future will not see this again. Will not see this again. These will be our last testimony givers who stand in front of us and tell us that fellow man, fellow woman hunted for me for 100 days and killed my mother as I watched, and undressed women and undressed men and killed them as I watched. This is the last generation that will do that. We should commit to this, all of us, not just the government. Every Rwandan, Ahuva Ukagera, we should commit ourselves. That these are the last testimonies we will ever get, that man, a Rwandan, hunted another Rwandan, and her child, and her grandchild, and her great-grandchild, just because they were who they were. That is what us as Rwandans, as a country, as a government, as any government, now and in the future, should be our stand. That should be our stand. This should be the foundation. Because we are human, we have a life, the dignity we want, everybody wants it. And therefore, we need to commit ourselves to a real never again. Has Rwanda overcome? Have we overcome our history, our adversity? Well, we have drummed the drums of unity for 29 years. We have called out ethnic extremism for 29 years. We have showed everybody that Rwanda was a nation. Those who are a little older than me know more than I do. Those who are older than them know what because this Rwanda, got into the bottomless pit slowly by slowly, not one day. It went down one day. So, have we overcome? I think to a large extent, yes. The assessments of our unity,
whoever association, professional associations that come to Rwanda, that deal with us, that visit Rwanda, that specifically look at our unity, that specifically look at how we are making life together. I think we have largely overcome. Visitors who come to Rwanda, I think, will come out of Rwanda not having known who was driving them in the taxi, or who was serving them at a hotel, or who received them at an airport. Long ago, it used to be strictly, Urinde, Uitwichi, Urichi, and so on. These days, Rwandans are Rwandans, and I think many young Rwandans, when you ask them what they are, they all tell you they are Rwandans. That's what I have heard from every friend that has gone to Rwanda and has come back. When you ask a Rwandan, what are you? And you are trying to take them into their labels, they tell you, no, I don't have those labels. I am a Rwandan. Now, that's what it means when you are a British, when you are a German, when you are a Dutch, when you are a Swiss, when you are a Belgian. It's not because there are not all these ethnicities in those countries that I read to you. They are there. But you don't go saying I'm Flemish in Kigali. Nobody knows who is Flemish in Kigali. Nobody even cares whether you are Flemish or Wallon. But when you are in Kigali, they want to know, are you Belgian? Yes, I'm Belgian, fine. That's it. Are you Rwandese? Yes, I'm Rwandese. That's it. So we claim to be what others are. It's nothing special. Nothing special. Until I came here is when I realized, there are ethnicities in the United Kingdom. I only knew there are British people. That's all I knew. I haven't gone to Germany. I always know that there are German people. But people who go to Germany tell you, no, there is Bavaria, there is this, there is that, there is that. But when you meet them in Kigali, they are Germans. So we have built this, and we are Rwandans, and whether you are in Rwanda, whether you are in Oxford, whether you are in whichever country, you are Rwandan. And we will continue to drum these drums, and all of you drum these drums. The second thing is next generations. I saw young people here. There are younger ones behind them. There is one on the mother's lap over there. These are the Rwandan pillars. They need to be told, thank you for bringing them here. They need to be told. They need to learn. They need to see with their eyes, without even being told. They will see. They will see where their mom, where their dad stand on these issues. And very steadily, our Rwanda, our nation, we will consolidate it. It will be consolidated, no doubt about it. Because short of consolidating it, what other choices do we have? Disuniting again? No, we don't. So I think we have overcome our ethnic extremism challenges, we have overcome our disunity challenges, and it all takes leadership. It all takes leadership. Always be aware that it takes leadership to have the right things and be able to deliver on them. But denial, as I said, is an ever-present danger. But I can promise you that look at where we are now. Look at this group in this room, made up of Rwandans, made up of Britons, made up of Nigerians. I met a Nigerian friend over here, made up of people. How can deniers who are in hiding in the first place, how can deniers defeat us? It's just not possible. Let's push them underground. Let them operate underground. Let them operate under pseudonyms. But for us,
We can't operate under pseudonym. We go over ground. We are proud. We are happy. We are developing a country. We are united. We should stand firm. Tugende twembi. Bagende bubu. That's it. Eventually they get tired of kubu. Kubu, you just break your back in the end. Okay? And they won't be able to teach their children disunity and ethnic extremism. So we will win, either way. So we need to be an army that pushes back on denial. Wherever we are, whatever we are doing, let's be an army that pushes back on genocide denial. Finally, never again. It was 1945, it didn't happen, but 1994, a genocide happened. So my take is that if you say never again to anything, you have to have actions that support, that accompany, that make what you have committed to a reality. So our never again, as Rwandans, our never again to the genocide against the Tutsi is always supported by a raft of actions. Our unity and reconciliation, our actions to bring young people in, our actions to remember, to commemorate, to remind each other of our history, to say this was a nation that was destroyed, build back together and renew ourselves. It's about politics of unity versus politics of disunity. It's about politics of goodness versus politics of badness. It's about politics of kindness, I think Susan mentioned it, versus politics of cruelty. It's about politics of love for our country. And that's my last point. It's about politics of love for our country. You friends of Rwanda, these Rwandans you see, whether they are silent, whether they are loud, whatever they are, one thing you cannot doubt about them is love for their country. They do love their country. We love Rwanda. And because of that, our generation, the next generation will work to make Rwanda a better and better and better place for all of us. Nobody will be allowed again to sow seeds of ethnic extremism, of ethnic hate, of discrimination. Nobody. I don't think this generation or the next generation will allow it. And because of that, because of what has been happening in the last 29 years, that's what explains where Rwanda is today, socioeconomically. That's what explains how the progress, modest progress that we continue to make, that's what explains it. We don't spend time in tribal conflict. We don't spend time in ethnic conflict. We don't spend time in ethnic rivalry. We don't. We spend time in looking up each other. We spend time in finding electricity and water for people. We spend time in trying to make healthcare available for everybody. We spend time in trying all these infrastructures that people need. We spend time making our airline better. We spend time doing good things. Those who are struggling every day, I think you see them on social media, some really negative fellows, a couple of them. When I was checking this morning, what have they done in the last 29 years, apart from fighting our progress? What else have they done? Have they done some road somewhere? Have they done some water somewhere? Have they done some electricity somewhere? The fellows are underground. They are only, I think, maybe someone gives them money, but how else have they been known? By doing what? So I'm not going to name names, probably you are on social media as much as I am. Look at them and ask those questions, those critical questions. What else is known about them for 29 years? Just look at that, and then look at Rwanda. See what we are known for in 29 years, from where we were to where we are today, including where we want to be in 2035, including where we want to be in 2050. There is a blueprint, and that journey will be taken by you, by me, by our children, by their children. Thank you so much.
This is the light of remembrance, the light of life.
Thank you so much. All the final have been those who have been kissing and the symbol of lighting candle, really, those who don't have a candle, all we need is a light. The light symbolizes those who are our loved ones we lost. So you can always put your phone camera light, if you have one. Please, let's do this just as a symbol to remember those opened in 1997. Thank you. And may I also request, please do stand up on your feet just for 1 minute silence. Thank you. Thank you so much. You may take a seat again.